Then five more engines came. One of them were Henry. He was an experimental engine. The other one was Gordon. He wasn't experimental or anything. He was like kind of experimental, but he wasn't as bad as Henry was. Another engine was Eagle. He looked similar to James when he was red, but he had the 13 NWR tender. And the two other engines don't have names. But some people if they had names, if the name would be. I forgot to say before I showed the two next engines, there's another engine I forgot to mention. There's actually two engines I forgot to mention. The first one is Albert. He's from the same railway Edward came from. But he came before he came before Henry did. That I forgot to mention was Joseph. He was a red engine. He also came from the same railway Edward was from. And there's another engine, Flint. But we're not gonna talk about Flint yet, cause he's not even part of the story yet. But now it's time to talk about the two engines with only numbers, no names. Their numbers are 94462 and 87546. Also, there was another engine. The red engine's name was Chester. He had a brother named Mel. But Alfred liked bullying this engine. He would try getting Chester in trouble. Another engine he would be mean to. Courtney. He would like pushing Courtney around. But once Alfred and Courtney met with Courtney's control, and Courtney was flying down the line. And Courtney almost crashed straight into Henry's coaches. But when the Fat Control found out about this, Alfred and Corbin were left in the sheds. And also sometimes Chester would get in trouble for doing some bad things. But one day, Alfred and Corbin went way too far, and that's the story of how they died. Then it happened. Alfred and Corbin right into Mel and Chester. Then he did it. Chella Master were pulling tankers. Then Alfred and Clover got blown up, but Chella Master managed to survive. That was left of them. The only thing that was left of Clover was the body. It was all dirty and scrapped up. The only thing that was left of Alfred was the tender. But around the time this happened, James and Percy were already here, and literally everyone saw what happened. Alex saw what happened. Thomas, he saw what happened. But Courtney saw what happened. Even the Marksman engine did. Everyone was kind of sad about Corbin out for that. But Gordon and Henry Chester and Ella believe that he deserved that. And all of the Fat Control offered Chester and Mel a new coat of paint. They were gonna be painted in green, but they didn't want to be painted green. And also, this is the time where Rodney Flint arrived. But Flint arrived with his brother. He was the same shape as him, but he was in a blue Liberty. And Flint got painted blue because the Fat Control wanted to match his brother, but they weren't twins. But after James's incident with the truck, with the trucks, he got painted red. Around the time that Henry crashed into a flying kipper, so he got a new shape. Well, this is also around the time where Thomas had an incident. So what happened is, so Thomas was just running down the line, but here's where it came. He accidentally derailed on the point. He was trying to change the point, but he didn't know. He was in the wrong place. And he got stuck between the points. And he couldn't move back and forward because the station master wasn't there. But something terrible happened. When Thomas found out that Terry came, he was gonna get the breakdown training. So Terry was gonna get the breakdown training. But while he was getting the breakdown, but when he was about to leave, something terrible happened.